So, you're thinking about applying to Harvard. It can feel like this massive, impossible puzzle, right? But what if we could actually break it down, piece by piece, using Harvard's own guidelines? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's get into it and demystify the Harvard application.
Here's our game plan. First, we'll crack open the application to see what's actually inside. Then, we are going to tackle the truth about test scores, what really matters. After that, we'll explore what it means to be more than just a number. And finally, we'll look at how you can put it all together to tell your unique story.
All right, let's start with the basics. We're cracking the Harvard application, and that means understanding the absolute core requirements you're going to need to submit. This is the big question, isn't it? Everybody wants to know if there's some hidden formula, some secret code to get in. Well, while there's no magic spell, there is a clear set of things that every single applicant needs to provide. Okay, so let's look at the main pieces of this puzzle. It all starts with the application itself. You can use either the Common App or the Coalition app. Then you've got the official stuff, like school reports and your test scores. But where it gets really personal is in the recommendations from 2 of your teachers and, super important, your answers to 5 short essays they call the Harvard questions.
Let's move on to the part that probably causes the most stress for everybody, test scores. We're going to separate the myth from the reality of what Harvard is actually looking for. It is so easy to fall for the myth that a perfect score is your golden ticket. But here's the reality, and this is straight from Harvard's admissions office: they do not have testing cutoffs. What that means is they will read and consider every single completed application, no matter what the score is.
So if there's no cutoff, what do the numbers for admitted students actually look like? Well, the data shows that, the middle 50% of admits are scoring in the high 700s on the SAT, and for the ACT, that range is usually between a 31 and a 36. But the real takeaway here isn't the specific numbers. It's that these are ranges, not hard requirements. Plenty of students get in with scores above and below these marks.
This quote really gets to the heart of their whole philosophy. When Harvard says they read every application with great care, they're acknowledging a huge truth. Talent is everywhere, but opportunity isn't. That context, understanding the resources you had or didn't have, is absolutely critical to how they evaluate you. And that whole idea of looking beyond just the numbers is the foundation of our next section. So if test scores aren't everything, what else matters? Well, the answer is in something Harvard calls the holistic review.
Holistic review sounds kind of formal, but it's a pretty simple idea. It just means the admissions committee looks at everything: your grades, your activities, your essays, what other people say about you, to build a complete 3D picture of who you are as a person, not just as a student on paper. So what does holistic actually mean when they're reading your file? It means they're asking bigger questions. It's not just about your grades, it's about whether you challenged yourself with tough courses. It's not just about your extracurriculars, it's about what you committed your time to, whether that was a club, a job, or even helping your family. They read your essays to hear your voice, and they look at recommendations to understand the kind of person you are in the classroom.
Okay, so now that we get how they review applications, let's focus on the most important part: crafting your own picture. This is where you go from being evaluated to actively telling your own story. Harvard gives you 5 really specific opportunities to tell that story through these short answer questions. They're only 150 words each, but they ask about your life experiences, a time you had a disagreement, your most meaningful activities, what you hope to do with your education, and even a fun one, what your future roommates should know about you. Each one is a chance to show a different side of your personality.
When it comes to recommendations, Harvard's advice is incredibly simple, but so many people overlook it. Yes, you ask 2 teachers from different subjects, but the key phrase here is who know you well. They are not looking for the teacher who gave you the highest grade. They want the teacher who can give real insight into who you are as a student and as a person.
And just to make sure your file is complete, your school needs to send in a few key documents. That includes the secondary school report from your counselor, those 2 teacher evaluations we just talked about, a mid-year report with your senior year grades, and then, only if you get in and decide to go, a final school report.
So, if you take just one thing away from all of this, let it be this. The whole application process, it's not a test that you pass or fail. It's not about finding one right answer. It is your opportunity to introduce yourself in your own words and say, hey, this is who I am.
Which really just leaves us with one final, crucial question for you to think about. It's not about what story you think Harvard wants to hear, it's about the story that you have to tell. So what story will your application tell?